Hello, crypto miners. I hope you had a great Easter. We are back with another AMA, and it's not just a AMA, it's with Flux. And I see we have already someone from Flux here. Uh,
Hi
hello?
there.
Hello?
Yep, Dan Keller with the project.
Dan Keller, very welcome. Happy to meet you.
Very happy to meet you as well.
Great. You are the co-founder, right?
That's what they call me.
That's what they call you. I'll call you that too then. Unless you want me to call you something else.
Nope, co-founder is just fine with me.
Ah, that's perfect. Where are you from, sir?
I live in the States, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. All right. East.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay, yeah. And you? Me?
Okay, good. Yep, hear you good.
Great. All right. So are we ready to start? Do you have someone else with you that will come up here or?
I don't think so. I think it's just me today.
They will raise their hand if they want to.
Yeah, if there is somebody from the Flux team that wants to join, just raise your hand, please.
Exactly. Very welcome anyway, everyone. And how was your Easter?
It was good. Thank you very much. And how about yours?
Oh, nice with a few days off, everything. So no internet
Amen.
for 2 days at least. That was good.
Oh, that was good. I can't go that long.
Yeah, well,
If I
okay, I
make
wasn't
if I
100%
make it two
off,
hours,
but
I'm lucky.
yeah, well, I can't say I was 100% off, but a little bit less or a lot less. That's good.
Got it.
All right, all right, all right. So, everyone, grab a friend and tell everyone that we're on here now, and maybe do a retweet so people can find us. My name is Mary, and I will be your host for today, as usual here in Crypto Miners. So also, we do not give any financial advice during this session, but we wish to give you more knowledge about this project and help you a bit on your way in your own research. So, Daniel Keller, co-founder from Flux. And Flux is it wasn't Flux from the start, right? Can you tell us the story?
No.
What it happened, how it happened, and yeah.
So Flux has been around. Well, it started the work. It started its life as Zelcash in 2018, right on the heels of the massive bull market of 2017. And one of the things that we noticed as we went through that bull market was the fact that infrastructure was sorely lacking in the blockchain space. So the team got together, the co-founders got together, and they started to brainstorm what we wanted it to look like. And we were concerned about, everything being built on, Google and Amazon and so forth. So decentralized compute was what we set out to fix. That was our goal, is we wanted to create a completely decentralized compute network that would allow people to run the infrastructure. So, people ask what Flux is. Flux is essentially AWS on the blockchain. And instead of having co-load locations all across the United States or across the world, it's ran by 16,000 plus nodes all across the world by our decentralized systems administrators. So we take great pride in our decentralization. The founders are all myself, today's Commensa, Parker Honeyman are still with the project. I see a couple of our other folks like Jeff K. Jeff K is in here as well. He's our business officer as well. So we have a very broad community. We really focus on community. Our tokenomics was built in favor of our community and not, VCs and even the founders. 96% of all Flux will be mined through a proof of work algorithm. We use an algorithm called proof of use of work. So 50% of our network is currently on proof of use work, and we're going to get ready to move our other 50%, which is our mining and graphics card, on within the next year or so to proof of use work as well. So we're very forward thinking. We love blockchain. We're all technologists at heart, so we have a very, very vibrant community. So yeah, that's a little bit about Flux.
Great. Yeah, let's talk more about the useful work a little bit later because that's really interesting. But first, also, I want to hear more about you and maybe the team who started. You told us a little bit, but
Yeah.
what else have you done before, and how come you got together?
So I had 25 plus years at C-suite, so chief information officer. So I worked for healthcare organizations, nonprofit-based folks, and also had a stint in there with Bloomberg as well. I've always been a disruptive technology advocate, so I've always liked to be the guy that learns the new and greatest things. And I missed the dot-com boom by a few years. But I'm real happy to be here for this next Web3 boom that's coming. So I came from a technology background. Tadeusz was a particle physicist, so he came from a more analytical and code-based infrastructure. And Parker Honeyman he had done multiple startup companies, and we were all interested in the same thing at the same time, and that was how do we decentralize compute? Because one of the things that Bitcoin did and has done pretty amazingly is create this decentralized ecosystem, and people understand that there are other ways than the conventional banking system. We took the same approach, and as a matter of fact, we're a fork of Bitcoin. So we went with the approach to do the exact same thing Bitcoin did, but we wanted to move it to every tech stack. So instead of just being the financial tech stacks, we want to move it into electronic medical records, supply chain management, you name it. We're going to be there. And that's exactly what Flux has set out to do. So the founders are all still in the project. We're all still, we're very committed to the project long term. We've been here for 5 years, and I'll be here until they kick me out. And so will the other guys.
That's good to know.
We have an ethos, and that is, we don't talk about price. We don't care about price. Everybody that works on the Flux project, that's the only project that they can work on. They can't have multiple projects, and that's not for everybody, but it's for us. We care very little about the FOMO that comes, or the frothiness that comes with crypto. We just want to build a good, superior technology project, and we've done that for the better part of 5 years with very little marketing and PR, and now we're getting to the point where we're ready to start moving. We call it Project Primetime, which is basically launching us into everywhere you go, you're going to see Flux. So, which is going to be exciting. We're ready.
That's so. You want 100% commitment from your team on, well,
yes. So the founders have all committed. This is our baby. We've committed to stay here forever till they don't want us anymore. Now we're always working on building up the next. I see a few names on here right now. We got Jeff K, we've got Lil Stash, we've got a couple other guys that we're working constantly to help cultivate and develop those folks, because we always want the next man up mentality, and that's important for consistency and continuity in a project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now you said you were a fork of Bitcoin, but weren't you also a fork of Zcash, or how do you pronounce that?
So Zcash was basically a fork of Bitcoin. We forked the Zcash code base, but then we removed the privacy aspect. So when you really get down to brass tacks, we're a fork of Bitcoin.
Okay. And how is it? Since 2018, you have been doing this.
Yes.
So you were in the first bull run.
Yeah. So I've been in the space for longer than that. I've been in the space for multiple bull runs.
Yeah, okay.
So three, maybe four. I can't remember. But I've been in the blockchain space for a while. But the project has made it through the first went through a bear market and then a bull market, and then now we're back in a bear market again. So we're kind of used to this. And it's funny because I always tell everybody, I would rather be in a bear market than a bull market, because you can get so much more done. Building.
I was just going to ask, which is your favorite, the bear or the bull market?
Without a doubt, I love bear markets, because bear markets is when the tech. the technology gets built, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we're preparing for the next bear market that will come, and this there isn't a day that I don't wake up and I'm excited to see what the day holds, because you got regulatory ambiguity, you've got technology iterating, now you've got AI components coming in. Like, it's fantastic to be in this space and to see everything developing the way that it is. I mean, I honestly couldn't ask for to be in a better spot. So it's really a lot of fun for us.
So tell me a little bit about the name. Why the name change?
Well, we had really, from the Zelcash standpoint, it was really more around, I mean, the original version of Zelcash was really more of a privacy based asset. Wasn't something that we wanted to do long term per se. We wanted to kind of set ourselves apart from other fork projects, and that's why Flux had been something we had kicked around for quite a while, and then once our marketing team came on board and we started looking at unified branding, Flux just seemed to be the right spot for us to be at. So, and I love the statement of everything seems to be in flux, right? So it's moving, it's here, it's there, it's everywhere, it's nebulous, and that's exactly what Flux is. So it fit
It's a
us
good
very well.
name. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good name. It sticks.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
you can make a verb out of it too, to flux.
Yeah. Well, they like to say flux it.
Flux
when,
it.
when we get mad at something, we're like, flux it.
All right. Yeah, that goes too. So, but now you have your own blockchain, right?
Yes. So it's really we kind of adopted it, but yes, it is our own blockchain. I mean, down the road, we're probably going to look, as we move out of proof of use into the next phase of proof of use of work. It'll look a little bit different than what it does today. But yeah, we'll always be proof of work. We'll always be dedicated to decentralization. Sometimes it might take a little bit of a different flavor than what we're doing today.
Mm-hmm. So tell me the main utility of the blockchain, or the main purpose of this blockchain. Who are you there for? Who are you hoping to
So
gather
our
around?
core demographic is really developers and people that are building infrastructure. So any tech stack that wants to build out decentralized infrastructure. We want to go after the AWSs, the Microsoft Azures, the Google Cloud of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We offer a superior product in my opinion, because we're decentralized and we're spread across the globe. We have geolocations, which we can specify where your particular servers would like to be spawned, or you can just leave it up to the crypto gods, and it'll go wherever across the network. So we're really focusing on emphasis around onboarding crypto projects, blockchain-based projects now, but really what we're going to start to see is large corporations. One of the ones that I like to use is, let's say, a FedEx wants to do decentralized compute. Flux would be the one that would step into that role for sure. You could definitely see a Twitter on Flux. You could definitely see an Airbnb on Flux. Autonomous organizations will gravitate toward Flux. So I would say, and it's not a cop out when I say this, Flux is built for everyone. So it's not just built for one particular use case, it's built for many use cases. I mean, we just deployed WordPress. 50% of the internet runs on WordPress, and now you can run it on Flux for pennies on the dollar, and it's completely decentralized. So I mean, we're basically fixing a problem for sure, and that problem is going to it's going to really yield a lot of rewards for us in the end, I think.
So it's still early days, even though it has been 5 years.
Yes, I would say, and I always tell people this: if we're going to a baseball or game, we haven't even left the house yet.
Yeah. All right. Baseball, here we come. So there's three different tiers or something on the blockchain. Can you tell me about those, or the nodes?
Yes. So we have our Cumulus, Nimbus, and Stratus. So each one of them has a required lockup for Flux 1,000, 1,250, or 12,050 and 40,000. You also have hardware requirements that you have to meet to be able to run those nodes. So they're very computational heavy. We have a. I'm sorry about that. We have a benchmark program that runs and constantly makes sure that you're within spec. Everything on Flux is enterprise grade, so we have to make sure that, you know, if we're providing services to people and they need high availability, high uptime, low ping times, things like that, we have requirements for each one of those classes. You can definitely check it out. It's run on flux.io, and you can look at the different node classes there. We also have Titan nodes, which are basically a shared node that allows people to be able to participate in the blockchain without having to lock up so much Flux, so they can, you know, it's not staking. It's basically creating nodes on the blockchain, and people can participate. Your crypto is held inside of Zelcore, which is our other product as well. So we try to make it as easy for people to participate in the ecosystem as possible.
So can people still, if someone is listening here now and wants to start a node, is that still possible?
Oh yeah, yep.
And what's required? How much Flux do you need, or how much?
So you need for the Cumulus 1,000 Flux, for the Nimbus 12,500 Flux, and for the Stratus.
Okay. Okay, yeah, and that you can look up on the. So it's not too expensive. It's not like.
No, I mean, when Flux was up at almost $4, it was a little bit more expensive. But I would say, you know, right now is the, you know, perfect time if you were going to want it exposed. And I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't play one on TV. So I would just say that
It's lower,
you know,
today than $4.
Yeah, today's a good day to do it if you're going to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So maybe people in here can reach out if they want, if they need help. Do you have like a tech help desk or something?
So we have we like our Discord because we have a lot of communities in our Discord, community members in our Discord that like to help people. So you can join our Discord. We also have we do have a help desk that's available if you have questions and you want. But I think we have a Telegram. I mean, every social media we have.
Yeah. All right. I saw that on your Twitter. You had the link tree there, I think.
We have a big following on Twitter as well. So it's @RunOnFlux.
Mm-hmm. And the Flux token, what can I use that for at the moment, and what other things are coming?
Well, the
soon?
awesome part about Flux is it's a coin. It's a utility-based asset.
Yeah.
So when we started out, you know, we wanted to make sure 110% that every facet of the Flux ecosystem would require the Flux asset. Really, the true definition of utility-based. So if you're deploying nodes, you need Flux. If you're deploying a website, you need Flux. If you're deploying a front-end, back-end game server, you need Flux. Every single piece, you're using Zelcore, you need Flux. You want to use decentralized two-factor authentication, you need Flux. So every single component within the ecosystem requires Flux, which makes it a very scarce resource. So, you know, people say, well, you know, what happens when all the Flux is mined? Well, that's 125 years from now. I'm not real worried about that. I won't be around to even worry about that. That's somebody else's job to do. But
that's easy, yeah.
But in reality, we didn't create some bullshit token that, you know, had added no value to the project. We created a proof of work, much like Bitcoin, finite supply. There's only 420 million Flux that'll ever be in existence. We have parallel chains, so you can find Flux on Flux, but we solved the interchain operability dilemma. And that was, you know, we're on Binance Smart Chain, Binance or Ethereum, Algorand, KDA, Ergo, a whole bunch of different ones there as well. So we really kind of fixed two major problems. One, the decentralized compute piece, and two, the holy grail of blockchain is interchain operability, and I think we've mastered that pretty well as well.
Yeah, sure. So where can I buy the Flux token then on different
Oh my goodness,
exchanges already?
got a gazillion.
A gazillion. That's
Yeah,
good.
obviously Binance is one of the bigger ones.
Okay, yeah, we don't have to go through all of them, but they are,
Yeah,
it's out there, so everyone can find it easily wherever they are, maybe
yep.
whichever blockchain they, no, I mean whichever exchange they use. All right,
Yep.
so what can you use it for? Governance also, right?
Yeah, so we have an XDAO, which we just submitted our XDAO 2.0 version. So everybody that holds Flux will be able to vote on initiatives for the project, which is pretty awesome. Especially the fact that the way XDAO 1.0, only the node operators could vote, but we wanted a more inclusive voice, obviously, from our community. So in the end, we ended up going with a more structured DAO, XDAO that will have a foundation in the Cayman Islands, and it'll be a true DAO in every sense of the word, and it allows us to be more engaging with our community. And really, it's all about decentralization in the end.
Very good. And all these utilities that you already have, like the Flux Cloud, the Flux Drive, let's talk a
So
bit about those.
yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on, that's for sure. Flux Cloud is a multifaceted piece. So you have Flux Drive, which is basically a Dropbox, decentralized version of Dropbox. You've got the onboarding process. We used to call it Jetpack. We included it in the Flux Cloud name now, where you can basically deploy every single kind of server you want right off of Flux. We have Flux Labs, which is our incubation and acceleration program. So we work with projects that want to deploy on Flux and help build that out. Yeah, you name it.
It's like
pretty
an
much.
incubator, right? The Flux Labs.
Yes, that's our incubator.
Do you go out and search for good projects and try and persuade them to come to you, or how does it work?
Well, it used to be that we had to go look for them, and now we have to kind of beat them off with a stick because we only
All right.
really pick projects at this point that are really highly advanced or have a high amount of potential. And that's got kind of, I mean, anyone can develop on Flux. You don't need to go through Flux Labs. But if you have a project that really wants to, hit the ground running, so to speak, that's where Labs comes into play for sure.
Mm-hmm. And to hold Flux, the coin, do you need the Zelcore wallet, or can you have it on other wallets as well? I mean, the real original, the block from the
You hold
blockchain.
it in Zelcore, and there are many other Trust Wallet, a whole bunch of different wallets, Gobo. I mean, you name it. It's in just about every wallet. Exodus has it now, so yeah, pretty much anywhere to keep it safe.
Okay, that's good. Good to know. And I also read about the WordPress hosting, as you mentioned also. That's pretty big because lots of web pages are on there.
Well, that changed the game. I mean, people have said from the beginning of blockchain, they're like, blockchain needs its WordPress moment. Well, we have it now, and here it is.
Yeah.
So, everybody listening to this has probably got this at some point in their life, and that is, what is crypto and what's it do? Well, now with Flux, you have many reasons to give them. Well, you can run nodes, you can run front ends, you can run back ends, you can run game servers, you can run, the list goes on and on. A WordPress website, it's all very tangible now.
So how many did switch already? Do you have any numbers?
Are you talking about metrics for the project?
The web pages, I mean, because you can, as owner of a web page, or if you did a web page on the WordPress, you can go in there and change to your own Flux chain instead, right?
Yeah, so we allow people to use their own domain, and we have a product called Flux Domain Manager that manages all that for them in the back end. So if you go to runonflux.io, that runs on Flux. We have a lot of folks, especially on blockchain, some of the blockchain-based projects, Haven and a few others that are already running their infrastructure on Flux. we work with Cadena, we work with Caspa, we work with all the different proof of work projects. And you can make your proof of stake project, I wouldn't say decentralized, but definitely more decentralized. Inherently, proof of stake is highly centralized. But you can definitely make it more decentralized by standing your nodes up and running them on Flux.
Mm-hmm. But how many did switch already? Do you have a number for that, or?
Oh, it's thousands. I mean, I think we have an
Okay.
active 35,000 plus. I can't give you the number right this very
No,
second, but
it's not just that it has started already to happen anyway.
Oh yeah, we've beat our in the first month of in the first quarter of this month we beat our year 2 and year 3 projections. So we are already right now today beat the next 2 years out in projections. We're up 625% in our annual growth metrics, and we're up almost 10,000% in our annual revenue generation. So WordPress has taken over the number one spot by far. We're about 61% of our total deployments are in WordPress. Then you got Cadena, Casper, and Streamer right after that. So it's pretty impressive when you think about it. We are by far the most decentralized and the largest decentralized compute network. We broke into the top 100 in supercomputers, which is pretty impressive. And we're not even done yet, because with our proof of use of work, we're going to be able to switch all of our GPUs over as well. So, ChatGPT or somebody like that could be able to use Flux to, use basically as their overflow. If you've tried to use ChatGPT, it sucks.
So you have the capacity to take them on, all of them, all the big ones.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, think about it this way. I mean, Flux has 200,000 plus graphics cards mining it today. Now, imagine if you took that and flipped it over to somebody like ChatGPT or high, compute resources. I mean, it's a huge. It fixes a massive problem.
Cool. All right. So we talked about the proof of useful work. I think that's kind of interesting. Can you explain that to the audience a little bit? What is it?
Yes.
What does it
So
mean?
one of the biggest dilemmas that Satoshi Nakamoto had was he knew that at some particular point in time the compute resources would grow out of control, and essentially ASICs, which are really single purpose compute pieces, created an inherent level of centralization. Not to mention the fact that it was a negative impact on the environment and compute resources. Now I in no way, shape, or form am dissing Bitcoin. It is the king daddy of them all, and I believe what it has done. But we wanted to take that useful compute, and we wanted to actually put that towards something that would give back to greater humanity. So we made our project ASIC resistant. It can only be mined with CPU or GPUs. You can mine it with a CPU as well. And what we did with the node network, which is 50% of our network, 50% of our block reward goes to no-noders. The other 50% goes to our miners, as they started deploying useful work. So all these projects that are running on top of Flux are on our useful work now side of the house. So we're getting ready to flip the switch here within the next year or so to bring our mining network over to proof of useful work. Right now, it's just mining the proof of work algorithm, but it will mine the proof of useful work algorithm essentially, and you'll be able to flip between them. What that does is it solves a major issue with blockchain, which is, people can complain about proof of work that it's bad for the environment, but proof of use of work will actually be carbon negative. And people say, well, how can a proof of work project be carbon negative? Well, it can be carbon negative because you're reducing the landfill capacity of all these, every couple of years you buy a new graphics card, or maybe, companies are trying to do rendering or compute themselves, and they have these massive, facilities that they're standing up. We no longer have to worry about that. Basically, everyone who runs their compute infrastructure will be able to be participating with Flux and proof of use of work. So we've partnered with the University of Applied Science in Geneva, Switzerland, to work on the development of the product, and it's really coming. We had a meeting this morning, and I was super excited to hear what they were saying. But keep your eye on the next few weeks. There's going to be a lot of buzz around proof of use of work as well.
Yeah, there you go. I needed to find the button. That's very interesting. You have also you partnered up with a university somewhere, right? In Switzerland, is
Yes.
that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. University of Applied Science in Geneva, Switzerland.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. So I think this is not anything other blockchains are doing at the moment, right? You're the
Um,
first.
well, people often say, who's your competitor, and we don't. I always say that we don't have competitors; we have opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say if you had to go and say is our competitor, it's Amazon, Google, um, Microsoft Azure, and so on and so forth. There are other projects that are doing, a flavor of decentralized compute, and I think you could see these projects working together. So, I think you could see maybe Flux running on Akash and Akash running on Flux. These are different projects that I think could bring value to each other, and I think you're definitely going to see that over the next few years. It isn't about the tribalism, because blockchain has been fairly tribalistic, and now it's about getting to the next level. And if we all are working together in the same common goal, and that is to have a really decentralized world, we have to work together. So I don't really
Yeah.
think we have competitors.
Oops, you disappeared now, I think.
No, I'm here. Sorry, I had a call coming in.
Okay, there you are. No worries. So no competitors, just colleagues then in the field.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it. I mean,
I think that's a great point of view, because we are still tiny in the blockchain space or in the crypto space
I
if you
think,
compare it to the
I,
whole world. So we
I
need
think,
to work together.
yeah, I think we are. We really are.
We think we're big in here, but if you really look, we're not big yet, but we might be soon. I mean, mass adoption. What if I say mass adoption? What does that mean for you?
Mass adoption to me would be stepping outside of our silos of blockchain and crypto and looking more at other tech stacks. So, electronic medical records, supply chain management, real estate on the blockchain,
Mm-hmm.
bonds and funds that are linked back to the blockchain. And I think when we reach that point, that critical mass, I think it's going to look like something you've never seen before. Because we in our mind's eye think that this is very early on in the technology, but it's so early on in the adoption curve, it hasn't even registered yet. So, I mean, when we have politicians that are trying to regulate and they think they know what they're talking about, that ends up being good for us in the long run, because their inabilities to really kind of grasp some of the concepts around blockchain is going to end up being a positive for us, because we're educating them as we go. And when we can start to educate those folks that are making the rules and regulations, and we can work with them to really usher in a really solid future for both crypto and for, the conventional tech stacks that exist today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we have still, I think education, you said the word, it's key to moving forward together, I think, because
Yep.
lots of people, they have no clue, and or they have the wrong clue about what is crypto, what is blockchain. It's yeah, people think it's only used for drugs or illegal activities and things like that, but it's like it's something different. So we need to do education. So what is Flux doing there on that in that area?
So we've created Flux University, and one of our goals is to start to really educate people from the institutional level, so like colleges and so on and so forth. We joined the University Blockchain Alliance. We've really been championing to get Flux in front of new students and the young folks out there as well. The other thing is we're going directly to enterprise-based infrastructure. We're looking at the folks who may use Amazon or Google or Microsoft, and we're going to them directly and asking them, hey, there is another way. How about checking this out? Obviously, it's cost advantageous to look at Flux. I mean, we're pennies on the dollar in terms of service, and as far as uptime, global uptime, it can't be beat. So I think in the end, this is the way that technology is going to look moving into the future.
Yeah, for sure. So, and you talked in the beginning about marketing, that you have been working in silence for most of parts of these 5 years, and now you're getting out of the shell and showing the world Flux.
Yeah, yeah,
How is it going to be?
well, we're firm believers in you build the product and then you go out. I mean, you're never going to get mass adoption if you build a shitty product, right?
Yeah, true.
If you can have the best marketing and PR team out there, and as a matter of fact, there's lots of crypto projects like Shiba Inu and all this other dog coins that they have a great marketing, but they have no development. So in the long run, those projects end up failing. So we took a different approach and we said, we want to build a fully functional ecosystem that works 110%. Then we want to go after our adoption model. And that's exactly what we're doing. And it's been very successful for us up to this point.
So
and
that's today.
It's even going to get better as we go here. Prime time really brings Flux to the forefront.
So what is in the future now, the near future for Flux? What's happening next? Is there something new big that you can reveal to us that's coming, or any new partnerships?
Well, we're always inking some new partnerships. We recently partnered with OVH and Lumen, which are two Web2 players, big folks in the Web2 world. I think you're going to see that trend continue. I also think that probably over the next several months you're going to see our very first engagements around proof of use of work, which is going to be a big deal. We'll have use cases for that built around that as well, and I would say there's some really interesting things coming up around education. I can't say more than that, but I will say that it's going to be very interesting how things happen here over the next several months.
That's good. Great. And security. Everyone keeps asking about security. How do you fix that? That you're not getting hacked or something bad happens for the people who keep their stuff on your own
Flux is
blockchain.
inherently secure. It is an open source based project, so there's many people that participated with it. We have a very good security team that's built on top of that. I would say this: you're only as secure as the people that are using the product are secure. So if you're creating a WordPress site with maybe private data, you need to be able to do that. That isn't something we can do. We'll give you the tools, we'll give you the pickaxes and shovels and the pans, but you're going to have to do the mining. So. But we take great pride in our Flux IPFS deployment. So we run IPFS in the background, which is a very secure platform. We also have baked in components to make sure that we monitor the network and make sure that everything that's happening on the network is appropriate as well. So security is definitely a big piece of the puzzle for us. That's for sure.
And you don't have any partners there? You do it yourself? You have a team?
No, we have a team. We do everything internally. And when I say internally, it's a community base. So most of the folks that are building on Flux are, we have people that work for Amazon. We have people that work for, major players in the space, Accenture, so on and so forth, or have worked for Accenture. So these are all technologists. These are folks that are building on the open source platform. So the easiest thing I can say to this is, you say, how secure is Bitcoin? Well, it hasn't been hacked, and trust me, if somebody could hack it, they would. And we are basically a fork of Bitcoin. So we put great emphasis behind the same components of decentralization and security that Bitcoin does.
All right, cool. So what would you say to someone who wants to build on any blockchain? How do you persuade them that Flux is the way to go or the place to be?
The number one question I get in crypto is, how do I become a Web3 developer? And the good news is with Flux, you don't need to become a Web3 developer. If you're developing in Web2 today, you can naturally gravitate toward Flux and build in whatever programming language you learned in or deployed your application or your database or whatever it is in. And that's why Flux is so superior. Is we've taken into account that for people to build and have a level of mass adoption, you're going to need to be able to use this seamlessly, and that's exactly what Flux has set out to do. We want to look and feel like Web 2, but behind the scenes, we're all Web 3 all the way.
Great answer. All right, maybe we should have some questions from the audience. I see many hands up in here
absolutely.
already.
Let's do it.
How much time do you have, Daniel?
I have time. I'm good.
You have time. All right, great. So people in here, raise your hands, ask to speak if you have a great question for Daniel and Flux. So Daniel, how many people are working with Flux? How big is the team?
We have about 65 people on Flux, and then we have about another 11 or 12 on the Zelcore side of the house.
All right, cool. Okay, I'm going to unmute someone. Let's start with Jay. So you're in here a long time, Jay? I need to connect, see if it works. Sometimes Elon Musk is not nice with us in here. There you go. Hi, Jay.
Yeah. Hi, Mary. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. So I must say I'm wowed by this project. So my question is, now with setting up a node, most users now would hardly possess the tools and technical know-how to run a node. So is there any features that Flux has to facilitate interactions for users? And can you explain to us the tools that you guys intend to use to reduce the complexity for the regular users? And is it accessible worldwide, the project?
Yeah, so I think you're dealing with two different things. I think you're dealing with the deployment and the setup of the nodes, and I think you're dealing with the user onboarding experience. So let's address the nodes first. I'd love to tell you that there'd be a simpler way to deploy a Flux node, but it's inherently difficult for a reason, because you're actually building a business model around it. Proof of use of work is not easy to run, and it's not for everyone. There's a reason why people, don't build mining rigs in their living room. It's not for them, right? So I would say this: we're continuing to look at how to make it more seamless, and we have hardware providers that are basically creating new solutions every day so that it's easier. I mean, I'm trying to think who it was that made. We have a node that's basically super easy Bluetooth node. You plug in your info and you're ready to go. And it meets the criteria of the network. So that's the other big thing. So I would say that I'd love to tell you that it's going to get easier, but it's not. It's not Seed. SEEED is the people that make the node. It's super easy to set up. But it is hard for a reason. There's a reason why we have 16,000 nodes running and not 116,000 nodes running. It's difficult. And it has to be that way because it has to be high availability, high uptime, low ping time. It has to meet all the benchmark criteria, and it's not an easy thing to do. Now, the other side of the coin is the adoption side of the phase. So we're going to make it as easy as humanly possible for anyone to deploy on there, including templates and everything else. So, yeah, I mean, our goal is for this to hit critical mass. We need to make sure we make it as simplistic for onboarding as humanly possible.
Great, Jay. Are you happy with the answer?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up is Matt. Welcome up, Matt. Hope you had a great Easter.
Hello, thank you. Yes, I did. Hope you guys did as well.
Sure.
This is a really cool one. The WordPress side and the useful proof of work side. If I can focus on the WordPress side, because you were saying about every Web 2 developer and can easily come across to Web 3 on this. I've seen the process for actually moving the WordPress site across, and that's really good, pretty straightforward and easy to do. Are you working on some sort of easier front end for WordPress users to be able to buy the token to use it to pay for their service, but have the sort of wallet and Web3 side of that in the background, so it might sort of capture more or be easier to capture the WordPress audience?
Yeah, 100%, and that's a very good question. So people often ask us that because we're agnostic in terms of how we do these onboarding processes and so on and so forth. So you're going to be able to use PayPal, you'll be able to use Coinbase, you'll be able to use Crypto.com, you'll be able to use Stripe, you'll be able to use like every single major onboarding on ramp. PayPal is one of them. I might have said that at the beginning, but the goal is to make it as simplistic for people to deploy as humanly possible, and that's the way to do it. And the good news is people say, well, if you're paying in fiat, doesn't that defeat the purpose of crypto? And no, everything that gets deployed into fiat automatically gets converted to Flux. So the utility has great demand on that. So yes, our goal is to make it as seamless and as my wife, when she goes to the ATM, she puts in her PIN number, she takes the cash, and she leaves. She doesn't care about all the components that happen behind the scenes. All the massive infrastructure that runs the banking system, and it's going to be the same way with our users. They're not going to need to know the idiosyncrasies of Web3 and decentralization. They're just going to know what they've already learned in Web2.
No, I like that. That's the perfect approach, and this is huge potential just on that side of things alone. So yeah,
I know, right? That's
yeah. I mean, the useful proof of work side as well. I'm just thinking, all them GPUs, if game developers want to access them to do streaming of games and that, they've got the rendering power to do it. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm loving it.
It's going to blow your freaking mind is what it's going to do. And I always tell people this when they hear about Flux, it's the best kept secret in crypto, right? And it is that way for a reason. So you guys are in the right place at the right time.
That's fantastic. Thanks very much. I'll be following this for sure and buying. I think.
Happy to be here with Flux, Matt. Right?
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm on board.
Thanks, Matt. Matt's going to look for an exchange now to buy, I'm sure. No financial advice, guys.
Not financial. No.
All right, we have a Danish crypto.ton up here. Hello, Danish. Do you speak Danish?
Hello, Mary. Yes, I do. I talk both English and Danish. I can do both, but I assume that the majority here prefer me do it in English.
Probably. Yes. Go ahead.
If you could, because I can speak Danish, so that would be kind of awkward.
Oh, you can?
No, I cannot.
Aw, come on, Dan.
What about Swedish, Daniel?
I can do that too. Pratar de svenska.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah?
Let's do it in English, Daniel.
Anyways, thanks for having me up here. I'm a really big fan of Flux already. I've been deploying a couple of both WordPress and pre-search nodes on there. Been a part of the pre-search team, admin side and so on for years. So when Flux came on there, it was amazing. But at that time, Flux wasn't that heavy. And now you're talking about this delegated or a useful proof of work instead, where I was thinking like, what limits would that basically be? Because do that mean that we are basically changing from normal algorithmic mining to what would you call it, in a sense, to make folding at home kind of useful? So like running GTA 5 fully hosted on Flux.
Good freaking question, man. And I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Just that first part of it. Let's do that.
So the ultimate goal here is, with proof of use of work, is to allow people to continue mining normally as they would. And then as jobs would come in into a queue system, it would basically allow you to move your graphics card off of mining the actual chain itself and moving. And obviously there would be, a sweet spot there where you can't have 100% of your, your graphics cards pulled off of your mining the asset. Because the nice thing about the Flux nodes is they act as a consensus mechanism. So we can actually afford to lose a fair amount of our hash power and still be rock solid with our node structure. So think of it this way. Dan decides he wants to participate with proof of use of work in Flux. He sits down, he downloads an application, sets it all up on his computer. He picks the time that he wants to run useful work, and he just sits there and mines Flux until he's ready to be tapped. Now, all of a sudden, ChatGPT decides they need 500 GPUs or 1,000 GPUs. Dan now gets tapped for proof of use of work. It leaves the network. It goes over, it works on whatever job, whether it's rendering or compute resources or AI or whatever the scenario is. Then it comes back. As soon as you're done that job, you come back to Flux and you get an additional reward for being tapped for proof of use of work. So that's the way it looks. Conceptually, it's still proof of work because that's exactly what the cards are doing, but it gives them the opportunity to leave the Flux network and be utilized by other people who are paying at a higher premium service. So obviously you would want to be tapped for proof of use of work because you're going to make a lot more money than you are just kind of mining, but you can always just mine in the downtime. So it's going to look a little bit different than what a lot of people would envision proof of use of work to look like, but it's more geared toward maximum contribution. So we want people with CPUs and GPUs to be able to participate in this, and that also helps with our decentralization as well.
So basically, yes, it will be possible for me to run a 1,000-man GTA server if I was willing to pay for it on Flux.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
That is freaking amazing. Second part of my question, how do you think this whole thing is going to go when something like Presearch is going to do nodes on Flux, but then Oxen have their low-key net, which is latency for the Onion network, and they also run it on Flux. Then we get into a kind of, loophole where we are decentralized things on decentralized networks with decentralized structure. But is there any way, shape, or form that can be stopped when or if there is no mistakes in, as you said earlier, in your WordPress, sensitive data in your WordPress site, or sensitive data that can be broken on your deployed decentralized network if you're not running nodes or other things on there? Because if that is not able to be stopped by hash power takedowns, because we had torrent sites back in the days got taken down for all kind of reasons, some of them pretty legit, but we don't want things to be stopped in this next era of internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, it's like I tell people all the time, just because it's decentralized, it's not lawless. If you're deploying something that is against the law, they're going to find you. I mean, whether it's a chain analysis scenario where they're tracing down, who it is that's deploying. It does conceptually change the way we have to argue around things. The government has been very comfortable with going directly to providers and saying, hey, you guys got to shut this down because we said so. It does shift the conversation to a point where they're going to have to be more proactive rather than reactive, which means they're going to have to put components in themselves to be able to regulate this. But the cat's out of the bag, guys. This is the way it is. This is the future moving forward. And not only that, it's already starting to propagate to other chains. So you're going to see Flux infrastructure running on Acash. You're going to see Flux infrastructure running on, we have Flux IPFS now. So, I mean, it's already starting to propagate beyond what we are. I mean, people talk about, ChatGPT and the craziness that it's doing. The craziness of Web3 and the real infrastructure play and the way it's growing, that's where the real craziness is. And it's going to get even crazier as it grows.
Thanks. That's all I had to ask. Keep up the good work, and let's decentralize the world.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Thank you, Danish. Tack så mycket. All right. Time flies, and it has been a real pleasure to get to know Flux, I think. I didn't know about Flux before this, but now I do, and I'm happy for it. No financial advice, guys. Do your own research. But it sounds kind of nice for the future, right, Daniel? So tell
I
me more about the future. If you had, well, I think you told us a little bit already, but what is the long-term vision for Flux? Let's say 10 years, 5, 10 years.
Oh man, 5 or 10 years in the crypto world is like 150 years in the
I
regular.
know.
So, I mean, hell, one year is like that. But I would
So
say
how
this.
long can you look then? How far ahead can you look?
Well, my vision is beyond me, right? So I see a world where community governs a truly decentralized and unfettered internet that isn't restricted by government oligarchies and tyrannical regimes. That it's free, open dissemination of information. um, I see a world where my children are left with something other than debt. My generation has done a total disservice to the younger generation. I mean, this will be the very first generation coming into it now that isn't better than they left it to us. So my hope is to give them the ability to have some privacy, some decentralization, some ability to have something other than debt. And I think Flux really helps. I mean, this is my passion project, as you can obviously tell, because I believe that it's our duty to give something back. So when my time is done in this world, I want to have left a legacy to the next generation. So I believe Flux is going to continue to keep growing. I believe we have a team. Our team is amazing. Like, we have the best team, and I'm not just saying this because it's our team. They're all technologists. They're all people who have the same um, do as the core, and they gravitate toward the project. So, I think the sky is the limits. And when I say that, a lot of people think it's cliche, but it's not. It's factual. With Flux, whether you're, deploying a server or whether you're building an entirely new infrastructure, Flux is going to be where it's at. So, I really look forward to see where the future goes. That's for sure.
Beautiful said. I like that what you said about the children. Take care of the what's to come behind us. Be
Amen.
nice. Yeah.
Yep.
Very good. All right. As I said, it was a pleasure having you here, hosting you, Daniel, and I wish you and Flux, the whole Flux team, the best of luck. And I for sure I'm going to follow you now and see what happens with Flux in the future. And yeah, I will give you the floor once again for a closing statement or a wrap up of the show, Daniel. Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you because you've been an amazing host, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come speak with your community. I see a lot of faces I know in here as well. Thanks for the support, guys and gals that came in and are supporting as well. Learn more about us, runonflux.io. You can join our Discord, our Telegram group. We have just about every single social media. Follow us on Twitter at runonflux. If you want to hear the rants of a crazy old man, it's at DAK_Flux for my Twitter. I'd love to see you guys follow me as well. So again, thank you for the time today that you gave me, and I thank your community for joining us for sure.
Great. Thank you so much, Daniel, for coming in. And please come back soon
Absolutely.
again to talk more when things develop even further. So we're happy to have you again, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. And yeah, thank you for wanting to ask questions. I'm sure you can go to the Discord, which seems to be the place to ask questions. Where you get the best answers probably, and ask away there. It's a very interesting project. So yeah, I will see you around, everyone. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Danish, and thank you, Jay, for asking good questions. And yeah, See you soon, guys. Have a happy evening. Bye for now.